All right, welcome back to the Jaw Life channel. This is the 100-day live guitar practice streams. We are now actually on day 53. So thank you so much for everyone joining my journey and tuning in. I greatly do appreciate that. I'm excited to see, how comfortable and how skilled I can actually get with just 100 consecutive days of putting in some practice time on this thing. So, as always, you know me, I like to invite you as well to pick up the guitar and follow me in this journey. And, let's see how well you can become, after 100 days as well. So, pick up the guitar and let's dive in. So, as you can tell, today we're going to get into some power chords and then hop back into that cage system. So that way we don't have to just play, a lot of those chords right here, but we can play them in multiple spots on the neck. So, we'll do some power chords and cage system today. And then, let's just go ahead and dive on in. First, we'll do power chords. So for power chords, you have your root. So it's always like, from what I'm understanding so far, it's always like the root, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then the number 5. So it's like A5, G5, B5, C5, E5, something like that. And basically what that means is you got the root. So let's say you want to play an A power chord. You got your A, you got your root here on the 6th string, 5th fret. That's your root, and then your 5th. So 5 notes away from A. So you got A, B, C, D, and E. So the 5th note there is E. So your ring finger goes on the 7th fret, 5th string, which is an E note. And you play both of those strings at the same time. So you're basically skipping a fret. So see here as I come in, see this 6th fret and my middle finger, everything gets skipped there. The only thing actually touching down is my index finger and my ring finger. My pinky and middle aren't being used. So, and everywhere you slide that same positioning here, that's a B power chord. That's a B and 5 notes away. It's always the case. It's a G and 5 notes away is a D. Way down here, you got your D as your root. 5 notes away would be your A. So that same position kind of works everywhere. You got your F. 5 notes away would be your C. Power chords, root and the 5th. Okay. Okay, you could also go down to I've been using my index finger on the sixth string the whole time, and my ring finger on the fifth string the whole time, in that same position, skipping a fret. Middle finger doesn't get involved. And we've been playing that same position, same pattern everywhere. Well, you can take that same position, same pattern, and move it a string higher. So you could do index finger on the fifth string and your ring finger on the fourth string, and everything would still be, a root and a fifth away. Just like here was C and G. Well, here is also C and G. Just like here was D and A, here is D and A. So that same position works using strings 5 and 4 also. So it's really great with these power chords. So we've got another D power chord here using strings 4 and 5. D power chord using strings 5 and 6. You can also do it here. So see, I'm just showing that you can do that same exact pattern using strings 4 and 5 or using strings 5 and 6. Same exact pattern. Index finger, ring finger, skipping a fret, index finger on the lower string, whether it's 6 or 5, and ring finger on the lower numbered string, whether it be 4 or 5. See here, if I zoom in, 6 and 5, strings 5 and 4. Still a power chord. G power chord, C power chord, A power chord, D power chord. Okay. So anytime you're playing the root and 5 notes away, you're playing a power chord. So you can sometimes find them by only fretting one note because you're using the open chord as well. So like here, if I fret this E note, well, this is an A. So if I pluck the open A and the fretted E, that's an A and an E. So that's like this A and E, or this A and E. Still a power chord. Open A and fretted E, still an A power chord. So you got it. Just like you have a C chord in many different spots using the CAGED system, you can play it C chord in many different spots, right? So you can play the power chords in many different spots as well. So here's an A and an E. 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 Now an E and an A, that's different, right? Because then you're playing the E note first, then the A, so it doesn't really work that way. That's why if you play this, open A and then the fretted E, it sounds all right. But if you try to fret the E and the A, it sounds a little funky. Doesn't sound bad. I'm sure in certain scenarios you could use that. Okay. Then you have this open E and this fretted B. That's the E power chord. Just looking around, just playing, just learning. If you guys know any good songs to play using power chords, let me know what they are in the comments below, and I'll be sure to check those out and try to learn those. Once I'm done with this 100-day challenge, I'm super excited because I can tell that it's going to be something that, I'm interested in continuing to do. So that's what I wanted to kind of do this 100-day challenge for. I bought the guitar many, many years ago, and never really took the time to actually give it a real shot. So, and I'm not a quitter by any stretch of the imagination. So I wanted to give it a real shot. And then, if you give it a real shot and you just decide it's not for you, that's one thing to hang it up. But when you don't even really give it a shot, how do you know if you even like it or not? So I wanted to give it a real go, put it 100 days, see if it becomes a real passion or not. And I believe it is. So I can see myself continuing on. So I'm excited to see after this 100 days, how much I'll grow from hours, 100 to 200, right? This is basically starting from 0 hours and going to 100 hours. I'll be excited to see how much I improve from 100 hours to 200 hours because I don't plan on continuing to record these beginner videos. I think after 100 videos, I think it's pretty clear that I'm a novice and I'm a beginner. So I'll have a lot of content, built up to go back on. But then from hours 100 to 200, rather than taking the time and, getting on camera and setting up cameras and microphones and lights and things like that, I'll just grab the guitar off the wall and start playing. So I'll be able to, put my time in use in other ways. And I plan on learning a lot of songs then, really practicing songs and things like that. So I'm excited to see how good I am after 200 hours. So anyways, just wanted to mention that. Let's get back into some power chords just for a little bit. So yeah, if you know any good songs for power chords, put them in the comments because, like I said, I plan on learning songs, once this challenge is over. Like I said, this challenge wasn't really learning, trying to mimic other people's art. It's just I've never really touched the guitar. I've never even put it around my shoulder, 50-something days ago. I remember when I very first did, I had it around both shoulders like a necklace, like a necklace. And clearly looking goofy, clearly not knowing what I'm doing, but it is what it is. We all start somewhere, right? So. Getting a little carried away there. Arm was starting to burn, so I was trying to rip a couple more out there. I do certainly have fun with the guitar, that's for sure. I'm not crisp, not clear, not great yet, but that's the key word there, yet. But it's definitely fun. It's definitely cool. It takes my mind off things. It's kind of like working out for me. When I'm working out, I'm just counting numbers or I'm listening to music. I'm not thinking about the world problems. I'm not thinking about my personal problems. I'm not thinking about work and family and other things. I'm just in the moment, truly like living in the moment. Um, Kind of with the guitar too, Sometimes my mind can wander off, but for the most part, I'm trying to think. Bow flare out? Does my elbow flare in? What is the finger positioning that these fingers need to make? Where do I stop when I slide? Um, do I let it ring out, or do I kind of like mute it? So there's just so many things to be thinking about that music is kind of like working out for me. I can't really think about, so many other things. I gotta focus on this here. So that's why I enjoy it. I was trying to find years ago when I was hurting my back. I had to have a laminectomy. Well, I don't know if I actually had to have it or not. I think I'm curious to know if which I'll never know at this point, right? You can't go back in time, but I'm curious to know if I actually just learned the proper exercises if I never would have had to have that surgery. Um, but I did have a surgery, and but that was the reason I kind of picked up the guitar. I was like, well, I'm always go go go, and such an athlete, and can never sit down, and not diagnosed, but I'm sure I probably have ADHD. Can't really sit still for too long, so yeah, once I started hurting my back, I was like, well, maybe I do need to find a hobby where I can kind of still, have fun and be moving, but it's not a lot of movement, It's, I could, if I get really good at this thing, I could jump up on tables and things like that. But for the most part, I'm just kind of sitting and standing, maybe pacing around, nothing too crazy of activity. The muscles inside are burning like crazy because the way you got to hold it and tense up and things like that. It's definitely a sport. It's definitely takes some athletic skill, I would say. I don't know how I keep getting on these little tangents, but back to power chords. How beautiful did that sound? Just messing around with power chords there. As you can see, they're quite fun. Make sure you check the comment section below, the pinned comment there. Make sure you check that out. I always leave the like a written, typed out, detailed description there of the exercises that I'm doing, because I know here with these live streams, I can't really do a whole lot of editing and pop-ups and things showing um, words and descriptions and charts and things like that. So I kind of type out a little bit about the day's practice session in the pinned comment below. So make sure you check that out. Also, real quick, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's always greatly appreciated. You can find my content easier and continue getting tips and various exercises and learning about the guitar. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. Comment below as well. Check out the pinned comment for the detailed understanding, but also leave a comment of your own. Let me know if you know anything about power chords, have some songs that I could learn. Make sure you leave that in the comments below. I'm always reading those and checking those out. So please leave a comment below. And last but not least, always hit that like button just to help a friend out. It's always greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. Anyways, let's get back into why we're here, and that's to play the guitar. So just did some power chords, for the first half of the video, basically. The same position. You got the index finger and the ring finger playing on different strings. One will be on the 6th, one will be on the 5th, or the index will be on the 5th and the ring will be on the 4th. But either way, it's the same position. Middle and pinky aren't doing anything. They're just kind of floating above. And then you just have this position. Or you could go down a string and have it here. Those are all power chords. Root in the 5th. A5, B5, C5, D5, G5, E5, F5. Those are all the power chords. So that's kind of what we went through the first half. Now we're going to transition over into the CAGED system, so that way we don't have to play, everything way down here, but we can play some things up here as well. So, for example, let's just kind of go through it. CAGED starts with a C, right? C-A-G-E-D. So you got your C. Well, you also have a C-E-G right here. If you bar, I'm still working on this version of the bar. I don't like to use this version because everything's so crammed together. I can do it back here on a couple of them, but once it gets down to around frets 5, 6, and 7, I don't do it with this form here with these 3 fingers all crammed together. I just use my ring finger, and I use my ring finger to bar those 3 strings that make the A shape. So this one ring finger is actually covering 3 strings in the middle. So it's kind of hard, so that way you're not muting this high E string here. But with a little bit of adjustment and fine tuning, you'll get the hang of it pretty quickly, I'm sure. It took me, I don't know, a couple hours of like kind of focusing in and playing with it and fine tuning it. I was having my finger too far this way, so it was muting this high E string. So I just had to slide my finger just a little bit, this way towards the low E string. But just find your, small adjustments that need to be made. And you'll get there. So you got your C chord here. You got your C chord here. C, E, and G notes ringing out. It's good to arpeggio every now and then to make sure everything's ringing properly. Then you have your A. Then you have your G here. The G is, like I said in other videos, it's the hardest one to make because you have to make your G shape using your pinky, which you usually don't do. You usually use your G shape like this. There you go. So you got to make your G shape, and then you got a bar, not the frets right behind it, but you got to skip a fret. So it's a little hard. Then you got your E shape here. Lastly, This one here. Backwards. Wrist starts to hurt. Okay, so then that was C. So just showing you how the C chord doesn't have to be played just here. C, E, G notes don't just have to be played there. They can be played here. They can be played here. They can be played here. Or they can be played here. Okay. So 5 different positions: C, A, G, E, and the D positioning. Okay, and then you got your A positioning, standard. Then you can play it here in the G positioning. It's sloppy, I know. Again, the G ones are the hardest to do. But once I get those, boy, my hands will really be opening up. So you got the G shape, A chord though. A chord, but the E shape. And the D shape, but still an A chord. And the C shape. Backwards. Okay, so you got it in all the different positions. You got it in the C position, A chord, regular A position, G positioning, E positioning, but still the A chord, then the D positioning, but still the A chord. And lastly, wrap back around to the C position. So that's the beauty of the CAGED system, right? Unlocking the fretboard, being able to play things in multiple spots. Okay, just to give it that slight variation of tone, right? So we did C, we just did A. Now let's do G. All right. So we start here with G. That's the standard. using open chords, open notes. Then if you want to play a G chord but with the C shape, it would be here, like this. C, A, G, E, still a G chord, but E positioning. D. Wrap back around. C shape, G chord. A shape, but G chord. G chord. G chord in the E shape. G chord in the D shape. So it's the G chord in all the different spots. E, G chord, but in the D positioning. C positioning. And lastly, the A positioning. Okay, so that was the G. Now we'll switch over into the E, right? We did C, A, G, E. So here would be your standard E up here with open notes. So if you wanted to find it with the C, spell caged, here's the E chord, the C position. As long as it's E, G sharp, and B notes ringing out, you're good, right? So that's your C position, E chord. A position. G position. E position. D position. C, A, G, E, D, C shape, E chord. A shape, E chord. C, A, C, A, G, E, I hate those G shapes. Those G shapes are impossible for me right now. It just hurts the wrist so much. It's not that even it's like a hard stretch or what. I guess maybe that is it. But yeah, there's just a lot of pain in this part of the wrist. So I don't like doing those G shapes too often. But you got the E chord in many different spots on the fretboard. So you got it right here. You've got it right here. You've got it right here. E, G sharp, and B notes ringing out. Then you have it here, A positioning. And lastly, the G positioning that I can't stand. It's all muted. Can't get things to ring out. I'll have to work on that technique in time. Okay, so that was the E. Now let's go to the D. C-A-G-E, D, right? So here's the standard D right here. Okay. D chord. And then you have, okay, so you want your D chord in the C positioning to start off with. Here we go. D to D, D to D. A. We get the G position here. Man. Again, those G positionings, I know it's there, but I can't really get it to work properly without hurting my wrist. So I'm going to skip those for right now, but there's the D chord in the G shape. Then you'd have it here in the E shape. So again, you've got D in the C positioning, caged. A, G, E, back to the D position, C position, A position, G position, E position, back to the D position. G position, D chord, not very good. D chord, but E position. All right, so that's the CAGED system, C, A, G, E, and D. Trying to learn and find out where are the other spots on the fretboard that I can play those chords. C chord, A chord, G chord, E chord, D chord. The caged chords, where can I play those elsewhere so that way I don't have to just play them right here? But I can play them everywhere. I can play it way down here. E, A, G, E, D, or I could play it, this way. C, and then you have A, G, E, D. So, anyways, got a lot of work on it. A lot of work to do on it, obviously, still, but I'm learning. For first few weeks, first month or so, I thought you could only play, C chords, A chords, stuff like that, all right here. So now that I'm learning you can play it elsewhere, I'm trying to get that understanding. It's still a E shape or a C shape, but when you got to throw that bar in there and you got to use different fingers, it kind of makes things quite different. So I'm still building those skills there, but the CAGED system drastically helps. So adapt the CAGED system into your practice routine if you haven't done so just yet. But with those with the CAGED system, that G positioning kind of hurts my wrist. So since we still have some time left over, I'm going to switch back from the CAGED system back into some power chords just to finish out today's exercise. So back to some power chords because my wrist started hurting there. Let's just play some power chords just to have some fun. Remember, it's that root and then 5 notes away from it. So if you want to play A power chord, you got your A, then you have B. Let me take my pick out of my hand. You have A, and you have B, C, D, E. So you need A and E. If you want to play your C power chord, you would need C, and then D, E, F, G. So you'd want your C and your G. If you wanted a F, you'd want your F, and then G, A, B, C. So you want your F and your C. So it's that root and that fifth. So here you go. Here's an F and a C. Boom. Play both the strings at the same time. Not individually like this. That's kind of like an arpeggio form. Play them at the same time. And just like with the CAGED system, we learned that you can play, all those notes in different spots on the neck. You can play the power chords in different spots on the neck as well. This isn't the only spot to play a A5 power chord. You could also do it here. As long as it's an A and an E. Not an E and an A, but an A and an E. That root has to come first, right? Many spots. 1 spot. 2 spots. 3 spots. 4 spots. 5 spots. So many different ways to play them. All right, so then you got your, what would this be? E and B. So you got So you got 1 position, 2 positions, 3 positions, 4 positions, 5 positions. And that's just from first 12. Then there's probably another 5 down here, right? So many ways to play them, as long as it's the root and the fifth. So again, we'll just keep playing around. Here's the C power chord. So you need your C, A, B, C, D. Wait, C. You don't start over. You go in line. C, D, E, F, G. Okay, C and a G. There you go. C and G. C and a G. C and a G. C and a G. C and a G. D chord, D power chord, D and an A. So yeah, just understand that there's multiple ways to play pretty much everything on the guitar, as long as you have the right notes being played. And oftentimes it's a lot of the same positioning, same hand shape. The hand does the same kind of thing, but as it slides around, it's changing its, notes as well. All right. So there we are. That's going to be a wrap for today's hour practice session. That was power chords to start. Went to some CAGED system to understand that you can play things in multiple spots on the fretboard, and then kind of bounce back into some power chords just to kind of finish out. So thank you all so much for joining me on today's practice session. That was day 53 now in the books. So thank you all again so much for joining me. Greatly appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do so. Then I will appreciate you once you do that. Also, make sure you comment below to get a community of like minds speaking. That's always greatly appreciated as well. And then also boop that like button just to help a friend out. Always boop that like button. And then lastly, you can click on one of these floating videos here just to check out some more of my content. Here you can see the entire catalog of the 100-day challenge, or here's the subsequent video in this series. So make sure you check those out. I appreciate that. And then also, lastly, until next time, just take care of yourselves, So that way you can take care of each other also. And yeah, just I love you. And I will catch you on the next stream. So take care. Peace out.